All right, I've started the live broadcast, but I always do this early to make sure my tech is working, and so far so good. Of course, we'll start at the top of the hour. All right, Jeremy, you're killing me. I thought you'd be on just a couple minutes early here. Aloha. Nice to see you. And it's nice to so Ed's saying Jeremy has lots of faith in you, David. You can do it. Look, I can do it, but I want him to teach it. That's what he's here for. Oh, here we go. And by the way, everybody, be sure to let me see your faces. It's a whole lot more fun when we have this interaction. There you go. Ed, nice to see you.
How are you today, Dave?
I'm hanging in there. I'm not complaining. It's a beautiful day.
Yes, sir.
Hey, David.
Hey, Jeremy. You really know how to put it to the last possible second there for me.
I know, and I apologize. I didn't know I had boot camp today scheduled.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so everybody's out to lunch right now. I ran back here real quick. So I don't have my normal setup, my camera, nothing. I'm at a loss right now, so I know the video is not the greatest. But I apologize for that. His timing ran into an issue.
Yeah, if you do this in advance, we could have moved this to a different day. So, I mean...
I thought about it. I said, it's an hour, and normally the guys eat for an hour.
Okay.
And then Lou's here teaching, so I figured, I'll be able to come back and not stress. Then the restaurant got backed up, and then I pulled in the driveway in the office about 5 minutes ago, then ran down here to put my laptop together.
Oh, wow.
It is what it is, right? But I'm just glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here too. And man, Murphy's Law is at work right now for you. So, and I always say that because my grandma's name was Karma, and my dog's name was Murphy. So I got on both ends.
Absolutely.
All right, then let's not waste any time because you're tag teaming with your dad with Lou, which is great. But let's get started here. We've got a nice attendance here for now. And hopefully some more will kick in later. But let's start off officially. So welcome, everybody. Group Expert Series. And introducing Jeremy Nason, which if you don't know who he is, where have you been? Jeremy Nason and the Insurance Pro Shop team are on a mission to help the insurance industry professional grow their practices, teaching them sound, proven strategies how to identify, set appointments with, and close sales with their ideal prospect. Jeremy has 25 plus years experience in the financial services industry as a regional general agent, recruiter, author, speaker, trainer, consultant, coach, and mentor. He's helped thousands of agents, including myself, double and triple their incomes while providing unique perspectives on how you can truly help your clients. And by the way, when I first heard about you, which was through the IARC Association, through the articles there, it was one of the few perspectives where the whole idea was to actually really help the client. It wasn't just how smart can I be, how clever can I be, it's helping the client. So I wanted to put that little emphasis there, and please take it away. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I've been a part of the group for well over, I guess, 2 years now. And I follow everybody. I try to watch as many videos and I hop on when I can and answer people's questions. But, over the years of being in the business is every trainer out there trying to create a better mousetrap.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the few that just wants to give you guys the real fundamentals, right? I put a quote a couple months ago that you can't fix a $500 bat does not fix a $1 swing, right? And for those who know me, I'm a former baseball coach. I coached all over the state of Georgia, my travel ball teams. And, just because you can buy all the different equipment, all these different trainings, it doesn't fix the fundamentals if you don't have them. So what we're going to talk about today is getting back to some basic fundamentals on how to find the pain, how to find the emotion to create a sales opportunity. Getting really back to basics. Because in the big scheme of things, if people don't see the problem they have, why they need your solution, right? Just because you have a great product IUL whole life annuity, whether in whatever company it's with, doesn't matter. Doesn't mean people want to buy it. People want to buy something that helps them solve a problem, something that helps them enrich their lives or creates them either a escape from fear, escape from pain, and it creates pleasure for them. So how do we get that emotion across? How do we create that emotion? Well, that's a lot about asking questions. Because, one thing I grew up hearing from my dad, I know Dave's heard the story 1,000 times, is if you ask enough people, if you ask the right person the right question, you'll set an appointment. And when I started in the business in 94, okay, I started cleaning offices for Lou, building app kits, doing the rudimentary stuff back then, right? When I got licensed in 97, he always told me to ask enough questions to anybody. So me and another agent are in Lou's office going through a sales training because we were making cold calls the night before, doing our, getting our nose bloodied in the business, doing the starting stuff. And we couldn't buy an appointment. And it was bad. I mean, we made like 100 calls a piece over a 2-hour period. This is back in the 90s, or early 2000s, everybody answered the phone still, and it was miserable. And so me and this other agent sitting in Lou's office, and he kept reiterating, if you'd ask enough questions, I'd phone anybody. And he's getting blank stares from me and the other agent. So we decided to go downstairs into the smokers area, which is down the parking garage of the building. And he's going through and telling us the same thing. If you ask enough questions, they'll phone anybody. And we're still giving him all kinds of flack. So basically we said, put your money where your mouth is, right? And we challenged him to next person come in the elevator, hit him with some questions and show us how easy it is. Lady gets off the elevator. He turns around and asks, ma'am, do you have a retirement plan? And she goes, no. And he goes, well, how do you feel about that? Well, I don't feel very good. I just can't afford to do them. Well, let me ask you, did you spend $10 last week you could have saved? How about the week before that? The week before that. So is that $40 you could have saved better off in where you spend it or better off in your retirement plan? And he made an appointment within 4 or 5 questions. So me and the other agent, we looked at each other and said, that was Can. She knew it was a role play. She's in sales too. You know her, blah, 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 right? He did it 4 or 5 more times with the next 30 minutes. And he set appointments to 9 out of 10 people. I think it was 4 to 5 at that point, which is ridiculous. All right. At that point, I started taking notice that, hey, maybe he's onto something. Maybe my old man, because at 19, dad can't be right. But when I started listening and started really thinking about it, it changed my entire life, that moment. Because then I was able to go in and talk to anybody and ask really informative questions to get people to see the problem they have. It's all about the who, what, where, when, how, and why questions, but not the typical hard fact stuff. We all can ask that stuff. We all can ask how much you have in your 401k, what do you have in your IRA, how's your annuity producing, how's your life insurance, do you need life insurance? We can all ask those basic questions.
Yeah, probably not a good idea to start off with those.
Probably not a good idea, but that's what's being taught today, unfortunately. But when you get down to it, it's having a good opening question. Do you have a retirement plan? And then following up, a hard fact question with a soft fact. How do you feel about that? What would you like to see happen? How would that affect you personally? And going through that process with people to get them to really think about how it's going to affect them, what kind of fear it's going to create for them. Because when you tell somebody stuff, and again, this is that basic stuff here. If I tell you, David, hey, David, you need to lose 30 pounds. What's your reaction to that going to be?
Yeah, I know. Shut up.
Yeah. Right. You have either 2 reactions. You have either the rejection, like you just exploited, or you have the acceptance of it, which most people, they don't know you. So why should they accept it? Right. But if I say, David, if you were to lose 20 or 30 pounds, how much better would you feel? Will that allow you to keep with your kids more? Would that eliminate some of your aches and pains you're feeling every morning? How would that make you feel? It's an easier transaction between 2 people. It's easier to get that point across without having to tell them, hey, I know I'm a big guy. I'm 6 foot 300 pounds. I know I'm fat. I know I need to lose weight, and I hate being told that by my doctors. But when the doctor comes and said, well, Mr. Nason, if you lost even 5 pounds, would that, allow you to in lengthen the time between injections in your knees? Or, would you be able to get on the floor and play with your grandkids without being out of breath? Whatever it is. So really think about when you're talking to your clients and prospects, what are you trying to help them do? Help them plan for retirement, paying off their home early, getting that, creating an income stream they cannot live, maximizing Social Security. Whatever the problem is, make sure you set the problem up front for them, create the opportunity.
And if I may, Jeremy, the way that you talk about how to do it right, and I know Lewis said this a lot of times, we do it in such a way that they get the sense that you're their friend, that you're looking out for them. They get that caring, emphatic sense about you, rather than you're doing it wrong, you need to do this.
Yes, you're not being confrontational. You're getting on their side. It's the same thing as basic sales 101, right? When you're meeting with clients, one thing I teach a lot of my agents is never sit across from them. Sit on the same side of the table. Sit at the core of the table so they seem like you're on the same side, that you're a friend, you're caring for them. When you're across from someone, it's confrontation. So a lot of agents, when they speak to people, are coming from that across the table perspective. Let's get on the same side. A lot of my clients, even today, 20 years later, are telling I qualify them all as friends. I did business with them. They bought stuff from me, bought a lot of stuff from me in some cases, but at the end of the day, I can have a beer with them if I needed to, because that's how the kind of relationship we've built with each other. Not only here to help you, but we want to create these relationships. Relationships are key to this business. We're in a relationship business. We're selling with people, selling them on their own death, for lack of a better term. We're selling them on running out of money, and showing them how to not do it. We're not talking about pleasant topics here. Realistically, life insurance is one of those morbid topics you can talk about. When you die, what do you want to have happen? It's a horrible conversation to have. But the way we position it and the way we teach it, it turns in from a very scary, fearful approach to something they can look at and say, I feel good about what I'm doing now. That when I'm gone, my kids and grandkids would have a $2 million legacy to spend through. Or that I don't have to worry about my wife not having, losing my Social Security, my pension. Look, what's the outside we're taking away from that? What's the pleasure we're adding in? We're eliminating fear to add pleasure to our clients' lives. Is really what we do. We're taking uncertainty and creating certainty for our clients. And by asking questions and helping them solve financial problems, what we help them do. Because overall, no one wants to talk about life insurance. I remember I was in Tennessee a few years ago. And again, I wanted to test a theory. So we were at a dinner theater, murder mystery dinner theater show in Tennessee, outside of Chattanooga. Me and the wife for our anniversary. And they come up, they actually come around the tables all the time, trying to figure out who's here for what reason. It's our anniversary. It was our 15th anniversary, whatever it was. They brought us on stage to congratulate us. And they asked us what we did for a living. And this is about 50 to 100 people. My wife says, I'm a daycare teacher. I work with infants and teach them infant sign language. She got this rounding applause from the whole group. And they asked me what it is. I'm an insurance agent. I got booed off the stage. Okay. That's how we're seen in this industry. Okay. Now, as today, I'm a financial consultant. I hate the insurance agent title, first and foremost. It's very negative. It's like a used car salesman. It's not very highly rated. But
even if it was higher rated, you're still leading with the solution. Correct. Rather than what we're trying to help people accomplish. Absolutely.
We're not making any friends doing that.
Yeah.
Ben Feldman said at one time, if you sit in front of any kind of store and ask 100 people if they want to buy life insurance, you'll find one that says yes. But the other 99, you just lost opportunities with, because you led with a solution. You led the opposite way we're doing. And that's what a lot's being taught today. If you look at the big IMOs, what are they leading with? Well, they sell you leads, then want you to go call 1,000 people and tell them how great your FE or more protection is. Doesn't work. You'll make a few sales here and there if you talk to enough people. But if you could create a position for yourself where you could talk to 10 people, make 5 appointments, how much better off would you be? Would that enrich your life and your sales? And out of those 5 people you talk to, you made 4 sales. Would that solve all your money issues in the world? You know, so again, when you're helping people, one, you're going to create larger sale opportunities. You know, what's the average commission today on a policy? About $1,600 to $1,000 bucks. What a lot of the big IMOs are selling, and the guys I'm training, but a lot of guys that I work with, you know, the last 2 cases I worked on for Tony, one of the guys in the group, were both $600 a pop, $600 monthly premiums. If you could add one of those a week to what you were currently doing, how much better off would you guys be?
A whole lot better off.
A whole lot better off. You know, and I think if my math's correct, and I'm not a math genius of any kind, but if you write one policy a week, $600 a pop, that's well over what you need to create for qualifying.
$5,000 a week.
What was that? I'm sorry?
About $5,000 a week.
$5,000 a week. That'll put you way over. If you did 1 a month, you qualify for MDRT. You do 5 a month, 4 a month, you qualify for top of the table. Or real dang close to it. You know, just by learning a different perspective of teaching, just by learning a different way of skinning the cat, for lack of a better term. So one of the in the chat, there's a question came up. Tell us what you say again when someone asks me what I do. So kind of a USP elevator pitch. You know, there's lots of ways to do it. The way I was taught by a gentleman named Hilton Johnson. And he was not big on having one memorize, you know, a USP and have it ready to go all the time. So he would answer it with a question or ask a question to kind of get people to understand where it's coming from. Well, do you know how people struggle with debt? Well, what I do is I help people eliminate debt with no extra money out of their pockets. You know, so whatever, I mean, you can say 1,000 things. Well, I help people, you know, people struggle with planning for retirement. Or not having certainty in retirement. I just help them create certainty by giving them guaranteed income streams that they can't outlive. All right, Rick, how do you feel about agents telling they are field underwriters and agents saying they're in an insurance game? I hate that because again, you're leading with a solution. You know, field underwriter, insurance agent, you let the cat out of the bag of what you do. You know, I'm part of the RFC. David's part of the RFC. I know that. We're both on the advisory board for a member growth or something now. I don't know what it's called at this point.
We're having some fun with that. So, but yeah.
So, but you know, so I like the title registered consultant. Registered financial consultant. That's the one I use. My RFC designation. It's not the lowest cost out there, but it gives me a great title to kind of build from. Even before I got with the RFC, I was a financial consultant. That's what I always called myself since the first 2 or 3 years in, rather than trying to say insurance agent, insurance specialist. Just none of it's, you're leading with a solution. It does not help the client. Where, you know, I used cash flow specialist in the past. That was a fun title to kind of talk about because it was, you know, what is it? What is a cash flow specialist? Well, what I help people do is I help people create cash or income from assets they don't know they have. You know, so there's lots of ways to do it.
And by the way, just to add a compliance note, better check with your state whether you can use the term consultant. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of times they'll lump consultant with advisor and planner, and that you need a Series 65 registration and license to use that. But one great way to kind of, quote, get around that is by getting a designation like the RFC and joining that association. So I throw that out there as something to keep in mind, yet there's a way to position yourself. And it's a great initial branding stage before doing other things to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, easy loophole, right? That's what we like. This to keep it simple. And the RFC is a great organization to be a part of. I've been with them for 10 or 12 years now. And the amount of training I've received from different events I've gone with them in the past, the different cruises they used to offer, the magazine on the quarterly basis. It's a wealth of information. It's again, compared to getting your CLU, CHFC, CFP, it's a drop in the bucket cost wise.
Yeah, and I did all that too. But yeah,
I know. I mean, I've taken the LUTCF. I have all the CLU books. I just don't take tests. I just don't bother.
It's not that hard, but okay.
I just don't like taking tests. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't see some people like the value of the designations. If I was out in the field selling every day, like I was 10 years ago, then I would have to probably have those designations of some kind. But for the clients I see that are all referral based now, I don't need any of that stuff and the additional cost that goes with it, the headaches. That's me. I mean, everybody has his own. But again, all those designations, the CLU, CHFC, I'm not big on the CFP, the LUTCF, the FSS. They all have a great base of fundamentals they teach. Mm-hmm. The FSS and LUTCF I can't talk enough about. They are probably the two that I recommend the most for people because they are back to fundamental basics. Prospect or perish, the basic business course, identifying needs, great fundamentals. And it gives you a great basis to build from. So when you start learning to ask questions, now you have a basis to pull from. Because now you know what the problems are first. That's one of the biggest, hardest things I have to teach agents is how to identify the problem, where to find the problem. Yeah. So if all you've ever done is sold product, it's working in reverse. Well, what is life insurance really doing for the client? Well, I'm helping provide income replacement. I'm helping replace the financial risk or risk of loss that the client's facing, ability to keep their home. These are all the problems we're solving. And now it's a matter of asking the questions to get them to bring that problem to the forefront. Jennifer is the LUTCF and the FSS. They're the same exact course.
Well, actually, FSS doesn't exist anymore, but it's FSCP. So they just rebranded it. It's from the American College, whereas LUTCF is from the College for Financial Planning. But they're essentially the same thing. They're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, they were carbon copies. I mean, it was when the American College had the LUTCF, they split it out, and that was the FSCP there. So it's the same course, and it's about what $2 or $3 grand to get. Last I knew,
somewhere in there, either one. So yeah, and a lot of firms, and even if you're an independent, a lot of firms will reimburse your tuition on some of those things. So it's definitely worthwhile to check out. And if you're a veteran, then there's a veteran scholarship program from the American College. I don't know about the College for Financial Planning, but there's opportunities there. So
yeah, but back to questions. I mean, it's when you really focus on learning to ask the questions, you're taking care of a lot of different problems, right? Because when you're telling someone stuff, you can have objections. Right. If I tell you need life insurance, you're going to object to it. If I tell you need to buy it, you're going to object to it. But if you ask the question, if you could have an income stream you could not live, how much better off would you be? How would you feel about that? What could you do with that extra guaranteed income? You don't have to sell anything. Because when you ask the questions, they're going to sell themselves on why they should do it. Wow, this sounds great. How do I do this? There's a reason when I go out, when I'm in the field selling and what agents I teach sell, our close is which plan makes more sense to you. There is no hard closes. There's no question about which product to use or why am I choosing this IUL versus this IUL. They're buying your knowledge, your expertise, and they're buying what you recommend. All right. And again, it goes a long way because I love conceptual selling. And I'll tell you another quick story about the time I messed up. So I had went and tested over a truck. This is back in 2000, 2001. And I tested over a truck at the GMC dealership in Stuart, Florida. And I was talking to the sales gentleman. His name was Jim. And we test drive the truck around the town for 10 minutes. I'm talking the entire about life insurance and why he needs to, plan for retirement and blah, blah, blah. So he said, okay, I'll sit with you. And we made an appointment. Well, I missed the first appointment. I completely blew it off, forgot the appointment, everything. So I called, rescheduled, apologized. I was gonna bring my dad with me. So this is a bigger case. I wanted some expertise with me. So we get to the GMC dealership. He's still working. He makes us sit for about 45 minutes in the lobby waiting for him. Okay. So I screwed up. I blew it. So, but we try to make it right. So he gets in there, gives about 15 minutes for us to make our sales pitch, which we do normally an hour fact find with the client before we even make a recommendation. He goes, you got 15 minutes and you're done. All right. So because, lose a master asking questions, we went and talked about retirement, talked about, what his needs were, what his income he wanted in retirement was. We came up with a base estimation. And normally we don't do one call closes. But this guy, he made my dad mad. So my dad said, we're gonna get it. He already made us wait. Let's get the app done. So in 15 minutes, we sold him, got the app for a $600 a month whole life policy in about 15 minutes because we asked the right questions without seeing an illustration, without doing any presentation piece, all conceptual, but asking the right questions. Okay. So I'm big on conceptual sales. I hate these big presentation pieces, but I want to make sure the client gets what they need. But if you ask the right questions of people, what would that mean to you? What would that allow you to do in retirement? If you had money that the government couldn't touch, how much would you want? And how would you feel? What can you do with that? If you could reduce your taxes to zero retirement, would you want to know how? So from appointment to close, questions are the key to this business. And if you ask enough questions of anybody, you can set an appointment. They'll tell you what you need to do to set the appointment with. Whether it's, I had someone, I bowl every Thursday now. My son dragged me back into it. And, so I have a couple of older guys that I bowl with. One's name is Steve. And he was complaining about his Social Security. And I asked him, I said, Steve, what's going on? They only gave me a 9% increase this past year. And, inflation's up 9%. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, how do you feel about that? What would you like to see happen? Well, I need to create more income. I need about another $1,000 a month to break even. And what would that mean to you if you had extra $1,000? Well, that would mean that I take my grandkids bowling more. I take my grandkids to play the video games and do more of my woodworking and stuff. So it's important to you to create that extra income, right? Well, if I can show you how to create the extra income and reduce your income tax at the same time, is it worth sitting down and talking about? And again, you can use it in any circumstance. I don't care if you're in the middle of a public supermarket in the checkout line. If you can get someone to ask you what you do, you should be able to create an appointment right then and there on the spot. So I got some people coming in, the people coming back from lunch from boot camp. So, but if you think about the questions and in the position you want to get people to, what you want to help people solve, and think in reverse from there. How do you lead them down that path? How do you get them to say yes to once and talk to you? That's by creating pain in their life, creating the fear. It's that easy. It sounds so easy because it really is. And again, I'm not the best speaker in the world. I stutter, I stumble, I say a lot. Again, but it doesn't matter because when people start understanding that you really care about the situation and that you're here to help them overall, it doesn't matter anything else. Because you've come through and changed what they're doing for the better without selling them something, without shoving something down their throat. There's so often I hear, with like the big IMOs, just keep pushing the product. When you get the lead, you call them, You verify they have a mortgage. You start asking them health questions, and you're shoving it down their throat from start to finish. And I know the guys that I've helped in those IMOs just change it up a little bit. Ask a few additional questions up front before getting into the health stuff. They double, triple their sales. So if, like for example, do you have a mortgage in your home? And it's a yes or no answer, right? But do you have to have insurance to pay off your home so what would happen to you or your spouse? How do you feel about that? What would happen if your spouse died tomorrow? Would that affect your ability to keep the home? How would that affect your children? What would you do? If I can try to protect your home from loss of a spouse and have it not cost you a penny more than you're spending right now, is it worse than I'm talking about? Is that all making sense?
Very thought-provoking, Jeremy. And the main thing that I'm coming to the reconclusion of, because sometimes you forget things and you re-review it and you're like, oh yeah, that's how that works. Because thought-provoking questions is the language of trust.
Yeah. I mean, and building trust is key with our clients. Thinking about this, I was talking to, my daughter is 25, and she's attending the boot camp with us today. And she has some great comments because, again, she's from that younger generation, the one we don't talk about, right? The problem people, the problem young ones we try to avoid, the millennial people.
Don't tell my kids that. Okay.
I know. I tell my kids the same thing. But, she had something profound to say because, again, a lot of these guys, especially, what's the average age of an agent in this industry today?
56, 58,
56,
yeah.
57, 58, some in that range, right? And when we talk to younger people, do we talk at them or talk with them?
I talk with them, but I've had unique experiences to make sure that I'm talking with
Correct.
them. So,
you understand the process.
Yeah.
But a lot of agents, because they're just kids, so we talk at them and we try to sell them on why they should buy our product. Where if we want to be able to sell millennials, the Gen Yers, the Gen Xers, we need to get that relationship built with them so they know where we're coming from. We know what we're trying to help them accomplish, not just trying to sell a product. So Jessica's a single mom, right? She's engaged finally, but she's a single mom. And, she talks to her mom groups all the time now about insurance. And that's where she's getting most of my clients right now, are most of them are single moms from her mom groups that she talks to. And just asking a few questions, for a single mother, if something were to happen to you, what's going to happen to your child? How is that going to financially impact them? What would you like to see happen? We can show you how to safeguard your future for pennies on the dollars that worse than I'm talking about. Does that make sense? All right. We had another question come in the chat, which I love. So, Jeremy, what are you offering that will help me earn a $600 weekly premium? Okay. So I'm a sales coach. I'm not trying to sell anything. That's not what I do. If someone wants help, I offer training, offer different services and stuff. But one of the core philosophies I teach is we call found money management. And that's a position of helping people reposition money they're already currently spending so they can get what they truly want and need in life. Okay. So looking at, overfunding their 401ks, IRAs, overpaying in health insurance, car insurance, homeowners, reposition money that are already spending. So in the event, like an average client I would work with, probably makes $3,000 or $4,000 a month, maybe $5,000 a month in income. And they're spending all of it on their expenses. They're funding their 401k, they're paying their health insurance, they're buying food, their groceries, their car payments, their credit cards. And we're showing them how they can reposition that money, the same $5,000 a month they're spending, and just creating a reposition money where they're already wasting into a better position where they can create that same $5,000 spending, but now they have that $500 a month life policy on top of it. So looking at, again, 401ks, IRAs, car insurance, homeowners, income taxes, there's hundreds of areas you can move money around for people. Some of it's nickels, some of it's dimes, some of it's hundreds, but again, it all adds up. And the average commission we generate is between $4,000 and $8,000 in premium, which is about, depending on the contract you have, anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 in commissions. And that's, very regular. Again, the last couple of cases I've worked on with Tony, one was $500, one was $650 a month. And those are just basic 40-year-olds. One was a single 40-year-old who made $80,000 a year. He's overpaying his 401k. We help him reposition it. But again, everybody has. If you look at every situation, we all waste money. I was telling the boot camp the guys this morning is, I asked the question, did you spend $10 on what you could have saved? And you can ask that question with any dollar amount you want to attach to it. We were using the example from 1982 when Lou got into sales, what he would ask people for $10 a month or $10 a week. I ask people today, did you spend $25 last week you could have saved? And I'll follow up, did you spend $50 what you could have saved? And I'll get to a number where they say no. And then I go through the rest of the process. But usually, most people have between $100 and $200 a month they're spending unnecessarily, easily. And then if you look at other areas of overpayment of mortgage payments, paying credit cards improperly, you can free up another $200 a month easily in most situations. But again, if you could create a sale once a month that was extra $5 premium once a month, how much better off would you guys be? And the first place to start that, and I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything, but the best place to start and look for ways to free up money is to look at your own situation and start there. Do a fact find on you and your spouse, on yourself if you're a single guy or a single gal. If you're married, do it together and go through a fact find process. Look at what you're spending money on. I hate using the budget word, but you have somebody have to create one. At least put something to pay, something to track to follow. But then where your spending is, and then you can move things around appropriately. For years, not knowing what I didn't know about car insurance, I was paying for $100 deductible on my car. And it was costing me double what my deductible was to do that. So by freeing up and reducing my car insurance deductible from $100 to $1,000, increased by $900, I freed up almost $900 a year or more. Just right there. How many people pay for, cable, internet, and telephone service? A lot of especially here in the South, we have 3 different providers. We have AT&T, we have Charter, we have Comcast. They all have triple pay packages. So I have clients that are paying $250 a month for, their cell phone or their landline, cable, internet service, and I help them reposition it. I had a client last 2 weeks ago. I got them a $99 plan for 3 months or for 2 years. Sorry, it freed up $150 a month for them. The next 2 years, and then 2 years from now, we reset the same thing. We just keep rolling the plan over, keep the same services, all the same benefits. We're just changing providers for it, and it saves the client money.
And what's really key about that is that when you show that you care about their pennies, then you kind of have more moral permission to ask about their bigger dollars.
Absolutely. You start small. One of the philosophies I teach immediately is make my client first. That's the first step. Whatever problem we can help them solve immediately, so we can make them a client to get them to get on our side, right? Whether it's that small term policy, whether it's a couple $100 a month IUL, first annuity, doesn't matter. But taking one of their bigger problems and solving it, make them a client, then we can go back and do more of this intricate planning. We talk about, a lot of guys want to sell infinite banking or do Miss Fortune, a circle of wealth, or all these different sales concepts. But make them a client first, and then go back and do these other processes. Figure out what their biggest issue is. If it's retirement, if it's they're paying their home off, protecting their home, getting general life insurance, getting that Medicare supplement, the final expense policy, whatever it is, make them a client, then go back and do a full fact find again, uncover more problems, and help them slowly start slicing away at the pie to solve all these different issues. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect, because sometimes you can't do the whole thing all at once.
No, if you try to, you create confusion, and a confused mind can not make decisions.
Right.
So the minute you confuse a client, you're done. That's why I laugh when I see these 30 and 40-page presentations, all these charts, graphs, and it's like, and then people wonder why they can't sell anything. I had an agent named Don Zaber back in the early 2000s. Great guy, variable, equitable agent. They used to sell him these 30-page presentations. And if he talked to 100 people, he'd close one. That's how bad it was, because these plans, all roads led to VUL, which is a problem in itself.
Okay.
All that route. But then the presentation piece was so convoluted and overdone that it didn't make any sense. When we started teaching him to ask a few questions and started using a 2-page presentation piece, he started closing 9 out of 10 sales for the same VUL stuff that I didn't care about, but he's still helping the client. It's a little bit better position than when we met him. When he met the client, they left in a better position still, no matter what. And that's always the end goal. And I guess there's some questions about the thanks, David.
Everybody's having replay issues. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
It's going to 3 channels at once. It's on LinkedIn, it's on Facebook, and my YouTube. So yes, everybody, it's being recorded, and I'm not deleting it. So
that's always a plus. But yeah, you guys, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. I mean, I love talking to you guys, and that's when I do my classes. Through my membership, I have classes every week, and I do these talks. Some are topic based, some are non-topic, some are just Q&As, mastermind groups. I like getting feedback from you guys as we're doing it. I love talking. I mean, Dave's on a lot of my class. We sit there and banter for an hour at times, just going through, having fun. I mean, because it's all, this business, one, it's a very lonely business by itself. You guys are stuck in an office all day by yourself, or you're in a cubicle somewhere, whatever. You don't have a lot of interaction with our agents, because everybody's very guarded about their secrets. They don't want to share, what's working for them. And that's what
if it's working for them.
It's a whole other statement there.
Yeah.
But so I love getting out and sharing ideas and meeting with you guys, one-on-one on the phone, over video, whatever. But these topics, these training classes are what we designed to give you guys nuggets, to give you little piece of information you can build from. All right, Jennifer asked me about our training process. So I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything. That's not what I do. But the training process we have is multifaceted. From what we call our marketing and sales resource center, which is, you can start. I'm going to give you the $1 trial out. It starts at $1 for the first 30 days. That's $29.95 per month, $30 a month, less than $1 a day, and that is access to our resource center, which has 4 live classes a month, 200 hours of video, tons of sales articles on marketing and sales, how to sell life insurance, annuities, final expense, the whole 9. There's the link to it. Thank you, David. Then we have our different sales and marketing systems, which go up in price from anywhere from $500 to $2,000, depending on what your needs are, different trainings, different opportunities, different markets. Then we have one-on-one coaching, which starts at $300 a month. For guys that, want to take their sales next level, start doing case design. That's where we start with. The cases I help people close range from $100 a month, which is the smallest one I've closed this year, and up to, I just did 2 for $200,000 in premium. So it's skyrocketed. That's life premium. I'm not even talking about the annuity stuff that we do. But yeah, it's all, so we're here to service your guys' needs. So the training, when you do talk to me, if you ever talk to me on the phone, like David and Eddie have been through, that I'm not trying to sell anything from the start. I'm trying to find out more about you and your situation, Like we do fact finds on our clients. And you guys, when you talk to a client, you're pulling information from them, trying to get them to understand what their problems are. I'm doing the same thing for you guys. Looking at your practice, trying to help you see where your downfalls are, where the pitfalls are in your business, and helping you fill those in, whether it be knowledge or a tool or a little bit of training to help get you to the next level. That's the end. That's the end game. If I help, I started the pro shop in '99 with my dad. Okay, because we see there's a major downfall in education in this industry. And there's a 95% failure rate in the first 5 years for agents. And that's horrible. So we're here to fill that gap. Because I know if I go out, I can go out and sell, meet 100 clients a year. Same as my dad. We can probably still do it today. Go and sell 100. So we can help our small community, right? We can make a dent in Dallas, Georgia, where we live. Out of our 26,000 people, we could put a small dent in the economy, make a change for people's lives. And if I go and train 10,000 agents to do what I do and teach what I teach, now our reach is changing the total economy of the country. Because now we're helping people in a whole different spectrum, teaching them better priorities, giving them better tools to succeed in life. Because there's nothing being taught today. My son just graduated high school. His first question is, what's this FICA thing and why am I paying it? How do I balance my check? What's a checkbook? How do I build credit? What's a mortgage? And I'm thinking, then this is what's being taught. There's nothing being taught today. My nephew graduated college a couple of years ago. My nephew Alex, some of you guys know, some of you guys don't. And he went through a financial planning course some kind of financial course, economy course. Mm-hmm. What they taught him was, buy term insurance, put money in a 401k, 10% of your income, and you'll be set. That's the gist of it. That's all they teach. Yeah. So a lot of our younger people, even some of the Gen Xers today, still don't know how to balance a freaking checkbook. They need our help more than ever. They don't know. All they've been taught is 401k, IRA, Roth, market investments. That's it. And and who do they follow? They follow the Ramseys, the Ormans, the Clark Howards to death, and they end up believing that, hey, I can get 10% of the market every year with no risk. And they're wrong. I have a chiropractor here in town, and she has over $1 million in her SEP IRA. And I asked her, I said, how do you feel about the tax you're going to pay on that SEP? What do you mean? I said, that's, an IRA is all taxable. No, it's not. My broker told me it was all tax-free. And I'm like, I pulled my phone up and I said, here's the SEP IRA and it's all 100% taxable. She left my office in tears and was going to go kill her broker for lying to her. Because again, this is a doctor, a chiropractor, a very highly educated person, and they don't know it. It's up to us we're the guys in the trenches. You guys are on the front line, dealing with people's finances every day. We need to be educating people on how these things really work. And when you do that, one, you make clients for life. You're going to make a ton of money doing it. And you're going to help a lot of people. And you're changing the lives of many versus a few. I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, but we share that message, and you and I are both doing it in our different ways. But that's one of the things I love behind the Facebook group is I get to have my own impact somehow, and it's amazing the feedback that comes back out of it. So we're both doing our can to elevate the standard of our industry, elevating the conversations that we can have, so we can all serve more people, and this should be the preferred industry that anybody would want to get into. Okay, that's my soapbox. But anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, the starting point is just learning to ask questions. If you take one thing away from this 45-minute, 50-minute talk we've had, learn to ask the emotional questions. Just start asking, how would that make you feel? What would you like to see happen? How would that affect your future? And just start by adding a few of those here and there. And you'll slowly watch your sales start trickling up very, very quickly. Just getting that one extra sale, one extra, contribution, whatever, but it starts small. It's not something you're going to master overnight. It's a constant work. I've been doing this for 28 years, and I still learn new things every week. Well, I could ask this a little better this way. You start at very small, like, it's ask this, and as you get to a level where you're, I know Tony's in his 10th or 15th year with me. Brad's been in here with me for a long time. You start asking the basic stuff, then you start, well, I can do this a little differently. You start nickel and diming yourself.
Yep.
Questions change and get this a little bit better, a little more clarification, and it makes a huge difference, huge impact.
But without the foundation, it's hard to make those little changes when the foundation is cracked. And what I tell people all the time is that you guys are the training I wish I had my first week in the business, because you teach the foundation. Then after that, we learn things through style. We hear different things. Like, oh, I can incorporate that. I can incorporate that. And you're developing more and more of your own style of how you like to communicate those things. But without the foundation, all those little style things, they become just little things that they're bright, shiny objects, just that little style thing. You get enamored with that without the foundation, and that's all it is.
Yes, it's the same thing. I use the analogy of building a house when it comes down to it. If you try to build a house, like in California, you guys have mudslides all over the place, right? Especially in Southern California. And if you try to build a house on the side of a mud hill, what's going to happen? It's going to fall over, right? There's no foundation to it. Now, if you put the rebar in, you build a cement pad, you build it the right way, chances are you're going to build a solid foundation to kind of build from. Then as you start adding floors, adding technology, adding the ACs, the windows, everything stays in place, and you keep growing it. Where if you, in our businesses, we don't build that solid foundation of fundamentals, that we try to keep adding and stacking, it keeps falling over. We have to keep rebuilding up and fall down. That's the problem. We got to get the foundational elements in place. Like if you're playing baseball and you can't field a ground ball, but you want to try to do the fancy glove tricks like my son did, you're gonna fail 9 times out of 10. But if you learn to get the butt down, get your glove dirty, and really learn the fundamental of getting that ground ball first, your chance of success go dramatically up. You look at some of these Major League Baseball players today that have mastered the fundamentals and are now getting paid, like Dansby Swanson from the Atlanta Braves. Not a flashy shortstop of any kind, but he knows the fundamentals. He knows how to make good throws, how to make good glove contact, he knows how to hit the ball well. Doesn't excel in any area, but he mastered the fundamentals. He's going to pay $100 million for learning the fundamentals this year. That's all it takes. That's why some of the top producers out there, and I want to name them, but I can't name them. I'm allowed to name them anymore. I get yelled at for doing it. He makes $2 million a year just by mastering the fundamentals, and now he's grown his business to a very high level. And he's a national figure. You guys probably know the name. And there's guys like Tony Filippone and David and Ryan Biniak and Ray Kazicki, guys that I've trained that are making $500,000 a year in this business by learning and mastering the fundamentals first. And when they finally master the fundamentals, their sales skyrocket. Tony's a key example. When I first met him, he was making $40,000 a year from MetLife. Today he makes 200, 300 plus. He won't tell me the exact number anymore.
He's top of the table for the past couple of years. So now we know.
I'm not supposed to know that, so I leave that alone.
He puts it on his website. Everybody's supposed to know that. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So he's put it there. But, again, when he started making $40,000 a year, after learning how to do a fact find, we got him from 40 to 80 in the first year. And then about the half of the second or third year, he messaged me we saw a forum we put on. I finally got him supposed to do a fact find with everybody. When he finally clicked, hey, if I ask the right questions, my sales are going to go up. He went to 225 that year from an $80,000 income, virtually overnight. I mean, it's when you just focus on the fundamentals. You focus on just those basic questions and get people to think. When you get people to think, and you help them, lead them in the right direction with positive questions, they're gonna buy from you. And that's why, the guys I teach, we close 90% of our sales. We're not out there chasing 20 appointments a week. I know Tony does 3 a week. When I'm out in the field, I do 3 a week. My dad does 3 a week. I have some guys that do 5 and want to be aggressive, and they make $500,000 or more a year. But if you're setting appointments with three or 4 people a week, and you're closing 3 or 4 of them, your marketing budget goes way down, guys. We spend thousands of dollars on leads, on marketing. But if we just ask the question and learn how to convert more of the people we're seeing and talking to, it enhances what we can do for our clients. So when you're doing a workshop, if you get 20 people there, 10 buying, you set points at 9, your conversion is very high versus a lot of the annuity workshops out there, you're only getting about 40%. My guys are getting 75 to 90% because they learn to ask the right questions.
And a big part of that is staying disciplined to the commitment of the process. So, what was one of the things I do when people call me and I give them a little bit of coaching, and I say, by the time you're introducing the fact you want to do a fact find, if they say, no, all I want you to do this, you should be thinking as the doctor. If you went in to go see a doctor and you said, look, I don't want you to take my vitals, don't take my height, weight, and temperature. I don't want you doing any of that. All I want is the drugs. The doctors would say, no, this is the way we do it. You don't like it, you can leave. And so staying disciplined to that, because we're the professional. It's our terms. We get to choose if we're going to work together. And then someone objects to the process, you have to be willing to be able to stand up and not go through it with them.
Yeah. I mean, is a difference between being a professional professional advisor and an order taker. Yeah. Is what I break it down to. A waiter is an order taker. They take your order, they send it to the kitchen, they get it done, they make it right. FE agents, Medicare, mortgage protection, a lot of times you're just an order taker. You've created a little bit of opportunity, but you're just taking the order of what they want. Where the advisor, we provide the recommendation based on our expertise, our knowledge. So this is what's going to help you best. I don't give options for clients. My plan is, here's where you are today. Here's what we can do differently for you. I don't give option A, B, and C. You pick the one you want.
That's right. Make the recommendation. Do you want term or whole life? What are you talking about? They don't know.
They don't know the difference and half the time anyways. They just know the price. And then we end up selling price, and then we end up selling the term. And that's not giving the best thing for the client. But if you ask the questions, and show them what they're trying to accomplish, and then you give them the recognition, this is why I recommend this product or this tool for you. They say, okay, it makes sense. Where do I sign?
And make sure you stop them from writing the check out to you, because you're not the one to receive the check. It goes to the insurance company.
That's a whole different story.
And that's the fun part, because if you're doing it right, that's the way it almost should be. They were ready to write the check to you, but no, it's not me. It's the institution. That's what you want.
Back in 07, this is the funniest story, is Mr. Filippone, Tony, you guys all know from the group. We were writing tons of annuities. We were one of the ones that was killing Aviva at the time, slowly. But it got to the point that in 07, it was late 07, early 08, before the market crashed, he was getting checks stuffed under his door to his office, made out to him for $100,000, $200,000, $50,000, with notes saying, "Put an annuity for me." It's a problem to have. I mean, we had one of our.
I'll take it. That's a beautiful problem to have.
We did 1.5 million in commissions that year. As a unit, we crushed it. But I mean, it's it doesn't happen often like that, unfortunately. But it was fun to watch these checks. Just every morning I get a text message. Hey, I got another check. And I'm like, what are you doing up there? what do you got going on? And that's from his adult ed course, the things he was doing. He was teaching people, and then he hadn't a chance to meet with them yet, so they were like, jump on the gun. And it happens. So it happened to my dad too. My dad, for years, he would help people, and then he'd find checks underneath his desk blotter, cash payments, put this in my account for me, just all kinds of stuff. When you really help the people and they begin to trust you, they do whatever you want them to do, which is a good and bad thing in and of itself. But if you're ethical and you're a morally balanced person, that's where you want to be. You want to have your clients believing in you and trusting you, saying, hey, that if they have any kind of problem, like one of my friends now, every time he has a transaction, he called me. You know, I'm thinking about paying my car off. What should I do? I have 2 cars. I need to sell one. I need to keep one. What should I do? And I walk him the pros and cons of it. I'm his advisor. That's my job. You know, but that's what you're putting yourself into, is that when these people have these financial issues of any kind, you get the call. Hey, I just got a check from my grandpa's death. I got $100,000. What do I do with it? We're not chasing it down. They're calling us with it. You know, it puts it in a whole different position for your benefit, but also your client's benefit.
Yep.
All that making sense?
Yes, back to the basics.
Yep. Fundamentals are key.
Well, let's put it this way. It's an elevated sense of the basics, because the basics aren't really taught very well. And so being able to add the right slant and the right way, the right spirit behind all the basics, that really brings out that extraordinary benefit and value with a new relationship, because the basics aren't taught very well.
No, I was talking to my wife, actually at one before I got back from lunch, that, you know, before she got sick, my wife's disabled now, but back in 07, 08, she decided to get her insurance license. She was one of my ghostwriters. She wrote a lot of my articles, a lot of news articles in the newsletter. She was part of our business. And so I said, today's fine. You want to go? I'll pay for it. You go to the course for 2 weekends, and I want your honest opinion of what it was. And she said, this was the most god awful training I've ever received. They taught me how to not go to jail. That's about it.
Yep.
And this is in Florida, so you know all this stuff's outdated. And Florida's laws are just completely trash, anyways. But I mean, family endowment plans, they don't even sell anymore. They're still teaching about that. You know, all these different things. I'm like, I haven't even heard of them in 30 years, let alone in the last 10. But they don't teach anything. You know, so when you get the license, you know, okay, I know what an insurance plan is. I know what the laws regarding it, but what do I do? And you get sucked into these IMOs, and I hate to put it that way, but you get put in these positions where, hey, buy leads, you know, here's a script, here's a paper with a script on it, read this to your clients, and you'll make some sales. And they wonder why we have a 95% failure rate. And that's why we're here to kind of fill that gap in, to give you guys an alternative. And it is cheap, but it's worth every penny of investment in yourself to get the knowledge you need. And once you learn the fundamentals, now you can add on all these other great concepts, you know, from the breakaway league to, you know, Tom Love, with Tom Love, you have, you know, Tom Hegna's stuff, which is phenomenal stuff. Yep. But until you learn the fundamentals, it kind of can fall on deaf ears sometimes. You know, Tony was one of my system junkies. He bought everything I had at one point because he spent $1,000 on everything else. You know, from Larry Klein back in the day, you know.
Larry Klein.
Yeah, I forgot about that name, didn't you?
The only thing I bought from him was a joke book, and it was a terrible joke book.
Yeah, it's terrible. But like Circle of Wealth with Tom Bland, you know, all this stuff's great, but until you have the fundamentals to know how to use it and the basics of how to make a sale and have the process in place, it's gonna bog your mind more than anything. So yeah, learn the fundamentals, learn to ask questions, and the whole world will open up. And I'll stop talking.
Okay. Well, we got to cut off because you got to get back to your boot camp. We're at the top of the hour now. So yeah. Anyway, so I want to cut it off, but thank you so much, Jeremy. Appreciate your time and everybody for attending. Of course, we put in the link. Believe me, whenever I talk to people, the first things I have them do is that you got to sign up for that members only center. It's $1 for 30 days and $30 a month. You can cover that. The other thing I do is I refer them over to Sandy Chaselle's Mastering Client Referrals training. Yep. That's $37 for the download. So for under $50, you've got some great foundational training access that you can learn and build upon, and then apply anywhere you want. Then you keep continuing on with whatever else you want to do. I often tell people the breakaway league can help you 10x what you learned from the Insurance Pro Shop, but at the same time, got to get them all together. So that's the way I look at it. But especially for someone who's brand new and they want to do a higher level way of doing things, you start here.
brand new, struggling agents, if you're not where you want to be, give me a call. Let's talk for 15 minutes. Let's come up with a game plan to help you get on the right track. And that's what we're here to help you guys do at the end of the day. I'm not trying to sell you a bunch of stuff, bunch of bill of goods, shove stuff down your throat. That's not. I'm
and
not
even if you did, your stuff is about at least half price of what it ought to be. I'm just telling you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what when look, I'll disclose this. You guys offer me an affiliate program, and I thought, I feel terrible taking a commission from something that's already so low priced. No, just give me access. Whenever I call, you pick up the phone and we talk. If I have access, I'm good. But no, your stuff was already too low price. So keep the bargain, make sure everybody has access, and I just keep promoting you guys because you guys do deliver and you fill in a void that this industry really needs to help get somebody just who's struggling, that's get them reestablished on the basics, and then they can go back and revisit some of the other advanced concepts and stuff later on and learn how to adapt it better. So
yep. Well, I appreciate it. I keep giving the good word for you guys. I mean, you're the Facebook group is, I refer everybody I can to because it's an amazing resource. All the expert series videos you put out, your starting guides on how to get started in the insurance, phenomenal material. So again, congrats to you, David, for this, and thanks for having me again.
Hey, thank you very much. All right, guys. By the way, keep in mind, I'm still trying to get Joe Jordan. Haven't nailed down a date yet, and I'm hoping for that. And I've got David Duford, who's with Final Expense and Mortgage Protection. He's one of the masters. He does a great job with it. Yep. And I'm also got Sid Walker scheduled. So we got some neat things coming up over the next couple of months here. So keep an eye out in the group for the announcements on those things. Everybody, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the group.
Have a good one.